I forgot to change it. I forgot I'm doing new intros for each episode.
It's just us, guys. Sorry, it's only me and Ralph. Welcome to Live Action Star Wars. I'm James.
I'm Ralph.
And today we are back on our own. We don't have a guest with us. And we are here to talk about episode 3 of Skeleton Crew. Very interesting as an astrogation problem.
Whatever.
Yeah, whatever.
So I've been so I feel like I've been so rushed. Like this the last since our last recording, so much has been going on that my brain has been kind of scrambled. Completely forgot that I do unique openings now for this. I might just get rid of it so I don't have to think about it.
I was gonna say, you reducing work sounds like a great idea for you, Raf.
Yeah. The season premiere with Eddie Pence, I was like, oh yeah. Shit. Okay.
Second week of the season with Ralph and James.
Also, these titles are so long. I'm like, would I be able to fit that in there?
And it's like, and it was not on screen for long enough for anyone to read it. It's like, I don't think it would be serving any purpose. I think it's a nice idea for other shows that are using different titles. How going back to season 1 Mando, it's like the thing, like that sort of stuff. Cool. But this, where it's just a line from the show, which it seems like they could kind of pull any line from the show at this point with the titles.
I feel like they're adding these super long titles just to fuck with podcasters.
Oh, is it because they're emo bands from the early 2000s and all their song titles were stupidly long?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Maybe I'll just put Skeleton Crew review and then I'll have to think about it until Andor.
Yeah.
But I'll probably mess that up.
About it for Andor.
Yeah.
Can
I say real quick?
Yeah,
Speaking of which, something that I always change the opening titles for, just because our intro music is the right length, is Invincipod, our flagship show, Invincipod, which is returning on Friday at this time. So if you are into Invincible, the show, watch us on Friday at Invincipod.
And if you're not, watch Invincible because it's great. Read Invincible because it's great. Watch Invincipod because we're all right.
Yeah, I still haven't watched that trailer yet. I'm waiting for Friday.
Me neither. I haven't watched a thing. It's exciting. It's my favorite thing about Invincible is you can avoid it if you want to, in the build up to doing a show or something like that. It's spoilers are it's so much easier to avoid than a Star Wars thing. Like Star Wars, I don't even bother. I don't even try to avoid stuff. I'm like, yeah, cool, I see it. It's there. Whereas Invincible,
I'll tell you this. I'll tell you this. Being on Blue Sky as opposed to the other one. Very, very positive community. We're starting to get a lot of followers coming in. Positive people. I'm not seeing stuff like spoilers. Everybody's thumbnails for whatever they're reviewing seems very respectful. It's very, very nice. So join us on Blue Sky.
Are we seeing a sea change? This could be the sea change. It could be happening. I think it'll be a slow process, and I don't know if it's. It's gonna take a while for it to really happen. But if this is the start of the trickle of that change in mentality on the internet, or at least just those people can have that. If they want it, have it. It's yours now. We've left. We don't care. We don't want it. We don't want any part of it. Just keep Blue Sky positive.
Yeah. Scott D is here. Stevie's here. Sarah's here, and Chase is here. I don't know.
Same morning. It's pitch black outside here, man. That's crazy. It is. We're at that stage in the UK where I haven't seen that much sunlight in about 3 weeks. It's been about 3 weeks since I've seen that sun. I feel like we're at that stage where it is light for maybe 8 hours a day, and that light is a just grey light over here. So yeah.
Okay.
We should talk about Skeleton Crew.
You send me a text. We usually don't communicate with each other about the show prior to jumping on, but you sent me a text last night that says, I really like this show. And
so I watched it first thing at 4 a.m. this morning when I woke up and got to work. I was just really, really digging it. So I just sent you a message, just be like, I'm really loving this show. It's great.
Yeah. And I responded same.
Yep.
It's this is my favorite episode so far.
Yeah, me too.
I feel like the kids have like kind of found their groove. I'm really enjoying their interaction with Jude Law. This is the first time we're seeing them.
Yeah. And with each other as well. Like they're not
Yeah,
bickering at each other. They know that they're all in this together now, and
yeah,
the Goonies are formed. Like it's like the analogies are all right there. Like the show is wearing its references on its sleeve, and I don't hate it for that. Like so, I could see why some people would just be like, but it's too ambling, it's too this, too that. But it is, and it's not hiding that fact.
yeah,
Um, and it's just working for me. It really is. I'm really enjoying it.
yeah,
And Jude Law becoming a character this time around is he's amazing. He's so good. He's so natural with the kids, which is tough. Like that's like
yeah,
I'm sure they did screen tests, like because they had him in, and then they had screen tests with all of the kids, make sure that there was like
yeah.
chemistry. It works really, really well.
Yeah, I
And
think the kids work much better with him.
agreed, agreed.
Yeah,
Having an anchor like works, and I I didn't want to say it because I just so over that shtick very quickly, but he is kind of doing a Jack Sparrow thing here, but in a Jude Law way.
right.
He is a pirate. I love that they're not making that a mystery or a big surprise.
Yeah,
That he is that pirate from the start of the premiere.
mhm,
They full on just tell you in this episode in multiple different scenes, and
yeah,
having him do that, and then just have him be. He's just a scoundrel. He's as in the truest sense of the word. He is a scoundrel, and he's not hiding it. He knows, like they already know that he's not a Jedi. They already know this
yeah.
and that. He definitely seems to be force sensitive. I will say that I'm fine with him being force sensitive after all of the trickery that we get now. But like he's not a Jedi. He is just a scoundrel with some force sense.
Yeah, and they call him out on the lifting the keys.
Yeah.
Um,
They go through all of the different things that we talked about
yeah,
last week of what it could have been. It could have been string.
yeah,
I love that they even just went
string, yeah,
that. Oh, it's great.
yeah. Uh, uh, I don't know what to say. It's so refreshing to have a story.
Yeah.
Like something feels planned out. It feels like here's the story we created, and they're now telling that story. I felt the same way about Ahsoka and Acolyte.
Yeah.
Ahsoka, I feel kind of dropped off at the end with Ray Stevenson and the other like just
Yeah.
being kind of
Just I was sort of
cast aside and
yeah.
like
Again, I think
like
both
why
of
are
those
these characters
shows,
here?
it felt like they had a story, but they were like, "Oh, we've only got 8 episodes. We're not going to finish our story, so we'll just push
Yeah,
it off. We won't finish our story
yeah.
here." Um, it
And then
so
again, with as far as mysteries go, like uh it feels like ever since um Force Awakens
mm,
with JJ that they're really it feels like Star Wars they feel like for some reason they feel the need to have mystery. And it's like
yeah,
Star Wars,
it's,
the original
it's
trilogy didn't really have that. I guess the prequels did with
there
as
is
far as like
another like
Sidious.
there is another is probably like the biggest one at that point.
Yeah,
It's like because I'm sure I wasn't there, but I'm sure in '77, like no one's asking about Luke's dad. Like
right.
he was a
Yeah,
pilot
we
on
were
a
told he was
space
dead.
on a freighter. Like he didn't fight in the wars. Oh wait, he did. Okay, cool. He was a Jedi. He died. That's it. He was killed by Vader.
Yeah.
The reveal comes, but there wasn't a mystery building up to the reveal.
No.
Whereas in like yeah, it's going through the JJ like mystery box thing.
But even with the Force Awakens, like we didn't know who Kylo Ren was, but it didn't really matter. But then like they unceremoniously like halfway
Ben.
through the movie are like, you're Ben Solo
Yep.
or your father's Han Solo.
Oh yeah, yeah. No, I saw
So
him. It's when Han sees him,
yeah.
and you're like, yeah, yeah,
And the thing is, like, we don't know like Rey's past, and they bring up her parents and stuff, but we don't really know that much about Luke's past, except for and just a little bit of information we know about his dad. The fact that like I understand that the Acolyte was set up like a mystery show. That's great.
yeah. That was the
Um,
design of that show.
yeah, but like for me, the all of the reveals, all of the Easter eggs, all of that stuff, I don't care about. It's the
Mm.
Filoniness of like You know, I saw a news
The
article this week that
MCUification.
the dude, yeah, yeah, I saw a news article this week that said that the dude from The Bear is playing Jabba the Hutt's son in Mando and Grogu, and I'm like, who gives a shit?
Yeah,
Like, I don't
that's why
care. I don't care.
I
Like,
posted a thing on
Lando
our
White,
Instagram.
why is Jabba's son in? Who
Mando and
cares?
Grogu.
Why?
Yeah.
Why?
Like, and why stunt cast it? It's gonna be CG. It's gonna be Jabba voice style. Like, why use Jeremy Allen White, who is amazing in that sort
Yeah,
of role? Like, it's so weird, so weird.
get
Unless it's a
him.
case of like you get him, you get him to do some other stuff, and then he's also just gonna do that voice as well. Because fuck it, why not?
Get him to
Mm,
be the main character
yeah.
in the shit, the Rogue Squadron movie.
Hell yeah, he'd be a
Like,
brilliant like.
put that guy in
He,
a flight
I'd
suit.
I'd have him be Wedge. I'd be fine with that with Jeremy Allen White playing Wedge.
Yeah,
Or Tycho. Like Tycho Selchu, who again, like one of the few action figures that I have, is another like Rogue Squadron pilot is up there. Like that.
but
That's who I
what
want.
are we doing? I'm so like, okay, here's the thing. This show is filled with nostalgia for like the 80s Amblin movies.
Yeah.
But this whole time we've been saying stuff like, oh, what if we just get like a Western? Like, I always wanted there to be like the movie Unforgiven in Star
Hmm.
Wars universe with a
Yeah.
Jedi who put away his lightsaber and then is
Yeah.
forced to come out. We wanted a horror movie. Like, let's get a Star Wars horror. We want different genres, and we're getting that now with this. We got it with the Acolyte, which was, what if Star Wars was a Rashomon style
Murder
mystery show?
mystery. Like, yeah.
Great, amazing.
Mm.
Yeah, where's our Benoit Blanc or Hercule
Oh, yeah.
Poirot
Yeah.
in Star Wars?
Yeah.
Like in Coruscant, could you imagine like a noir
So good.
in
Yeah.
Coruscant? Kind of like
Coruscant
that
Nights.
episode of, yeah, what was that? What was that episode? Was it Mandalorian or Book of Boba Fett that took
Oh, and
place
they're
like
on.
Dr. Pershing?
Yeah. The one on. Yeah.
Yeah, what if it was just like that, but a
I feel like
noir
you
shit?
and me
Like,
were the most positive people on the internet about that episode. Like that was
I
my
love
favorite
that
episode of that.
episode.
That was my favorite episode of that season. And I feel like most people are like,
Again,
oh, that was a waste. Yeah.
because it wasn't tied down with a bunch of bullshit and Jabba the Hutt's son.
Yeah.
Like that's the kind of stuff I'm just like, oh my gosh. Scott D is saying celebrate, not hate, Ralph. I'll say this. I think I am bitching out about things that don't exist.
Yeah.
And I should probably be more open-minded
Focus
about
on
it.
what
But
we
listen,
got. Yeah.
like the Mando, we've gone through 3 seasons and we've had a very specific, we know what that is. Yes.
That'd be great.
But it's like, when you say that Jeremy Allen White guy is going to be Jabba the Hutt's son, I'm like, they're not growing. The Mando doesn't feel like it's growing. It's just like, ooh, remember Rancors?
The
Remember?
Mandalorian. So the funniest thing about this is the Mandalorian Grogu is what the Clone Wars movie was, the animated movie, which is just like 3 or 4 episodes like smushed together. It's like this was absolutely just going to be season 4 of The Mandalorian, and then Iger came back and said, "No, movies. We need movies." And so they're just like, "Cool, let's put it on there," like they did with Moana too. Like, and they did with Clone Wars back then. I was just like, "Yeah."
Moana 2's making a bunch of money though.
Mando Grogu will too. It's going to make a ton of money.
Yeah, great.
But yeah, if that gives us the next thing, fine. I'm fine with it. But it's not what we want as this show. But hell, we'll watch it and we'll probably really enjoy it. I think we'll probably like it more than if it was a season 2, because at least it's done. At least it's concise. Season 4 instead of a season 4 of Mando. If we get that movie, like,
great,
cool, right? Yeah,
because usually a Mando season has about an hour and a half worth of actual story in it.
Exactly. We always say this could have been a really good movie.
Yeah, it could have been an email. Okay,
this show though,
so,
the show.
What's great about the show? It doesn't have that stuff. There's Easter eggs, and I go to new rock stars after.
And there is a movie.
There is
a mystery. Good. I really like that mystery.
The mystery. There's 2 mysteries. Who is this guy?
It's not a mystery. He's just a scoundrel.
But
I think.
But I mean, we've already got like 3 or 4 different names for him.
Yep.
Ad Adden, which
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure is
that's the
just
mission.
essentially Treasure Planet or Treasure
Yeah,
Island in this case.
it's
And
it's part of the Great Works. They sort of almost
yeah,
said it, and like I'm sure that the owl, who was it, Kim, the owl cat, the observatory lady that they go and see, um,
loved,
so good.
loved
I'm
Kim.
pretty sure she was like about to say High Republic. I'm sure I heard her start to say hi, and then got interrupted by someone. I'm like, there you go. That's what it is. It is part of the Great Works from the High Republic. It is what we all on the internet thought and hoped it would be because it's the cool link, but it's a link that doesn't matter. It's just this is what it's Treasure Planet. It's just a treasure planet. Um,
I
the way that they did the previously on, I don't know if you watched it or skipped the
oh,
previously
I
on,
always skip them.
skipped it. So the way that they did that, it ended with Wim's dad telling the droids, like, we gotta go find them, we gotta go find them. And it focused, like it zoomed it in on the droid's head
The
eye.
eyeball. Yeah.
Yeah, and it was like it played it as if that was a sinister moment. Which was interesting. And then to see the wide shots where the streets are empty, but there's a droid walking.
It's
They
droid
are
on patrol.
omnipresent. They are always there. They are everywhere. And then we get
Yeah.
that one brief scene where the parents are all panicked. They're all worried. Um, the what's her name's mum is like trying to have some semblance of control because she's the highest ranked of all of them. So she's like, I'm going to put in a petition to see the superintendent or the supervisor or whatever it is. And the droids are like, no, 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 sit back down. We've got this. And also, no, you're not. And we're not contacting the Republic. We are keeping this insular.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think your idea of it being an AI, I'm way more in favor of that after this episode.
Yeah. I enjoy it. I really enjoy it. I go on like new rock stars and shit, and I go and look at the Easter eggs, and they almost seem frustrated that
There isn't
it's
enough.
not like there's not enough.
Wow.
There's like there's plenty in there to talk about, but it's like they'll talk about like this guy over here could be someone along the lines of this person from all this lore,
Okay.
but it's not. They know it's not that person, but they're talking about like either
What
that
similarities?
or,
Yeah.
so it's kind of nice being able to watch something and not have to feel like you're missing out on like years of EU.
Nothing. And that's
But
the
there is
best.
stuff. But there is stuff they're bringing in from old EU, which is Crimson Jack.
Crimson Jack. Yeah.
Yeah, who's in like the old like Marvel,
Oh, really?
the old Marvel series. Apparently,
Oh
he was
man, are we
with,
gonna get Jackson?
with. Okay, so as soon as they brought it up, I'm like, if there's okay, I think I've said this with every series, but if there's any time they're going to bring in Jackson,
it's this one.
This is it.
100%.
Like especially with the type of droids they brought up in this one with the CZ droid and stuff.
Yeah.
Really showcasing a CZ droid
and the Captain EO stuff and like all of that. I've always been quite against bringing him in because he is goofy looking. We've not seen anything quite like that in this show. I'm all for it. I'm like, throw him right in there.
There's been different styles and versions of Jackson, and that Black Series one, I feel like that Black Series Jackson figure can fit right into this show. There is a ton of aliens in this show.
Yeah, they're cool.
But if they're talking about Captain Jack, no, Crimson Jack.
Yeah.
Who I don't think he's Crimson Jack. I think he took that name like Dread Pirate Roberts or something.
Exactly. I think it's always that. Yeah.
But he's always he's probably using the name like that to get access to places, and so he has to pretend to be that. Like
it's got a different name. He's got a different name in every port. He's got a different name for every contact that he's got. Yeah. So yeah, he's a pirate. He's just a pirate, and I love that. And he's doing it so well. He's kept it. Is it Silvo?
Silvo? Yeah,
Silvo. I heard Silver at first, but I was like, that's just Long John Silver. But like, and then I'm pretty sure I heard it as Silvo later on. So yeah. Silvo, Jack.
I got excited for Silver.
Like,
excited for Silver at Star Wars Thrifting.
Yeah, that'd been great. But there's we know 3 different names that he's given already at this point, and like More
And
to
then
come.
I mean, just assuming, I'm hoping that in the end, it's not revealed that he's like, I don't know,
Oh, Los
a kid
Anteca?
who a kid who survived Order 66,
Yeah.
or like, I don't want any of that stuff.
No,
Scott
I don't
D
want to.
mentions Constable Zuvio finally getting some screen time on the show. That's great.
If it is
Um,
Zuvio or just the same species with the same hat, but like at this point, does it matter if it's one or the other?
no.
Like he can
This
be,
was
sure.
this was probably the first time I've seen Star Wars or seen Jawas in Star Wars since like probably Jabba's palace, where it
Okay.
didn't make me mad.
Grown. Oh wow,
Like
okay.
like in episode
Not
1, I'm
even all
like
episode one.
gratuitous
Yeah.
Mandalorian. Episode
I'll
2
tell you
was
what,
okay.
I was gonna say the episode
Episode 2
two
was
one
okay
where
because
with
it's just,
Anakin on the speeder.
yeah.
I love that.
But it's
That's one of
like,
my favorite bits of that movie.
but seeing them in this, they look like they had really chunky robes, which looked like they were to scale with the Kenner figures.
The face mask, like it was like almost out of the hood, and I was like, oh, this is
Yeah,
interesting because if you really study the 4K of A New Hope, like you could see the people under those masks. Like,
yeah, yeah. I feel like
yeah, the
a
Kenner with the
Kenner
soft
set
robe.
waiting to happen.
Yeah,
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 yeah. And they're putting classic droids and they're mixing in new aliens and old aliens, like the Ishitib and the Athorians and stuff. Like, it's like really nice. Like, because I feel like the Disney area is kind of like shied away from that stuff.
hmm.
But this feels like
Still,
these guys
we
jumped
are.
right off of Jabba's sail barge, like they're in the skiffs, like the skiff guards, the Klaatu brought to Nikto. Like, it feels like those kind of guys. And the pirates feel the same as
Yeah,
Ewok Battle for Endor.
yeah,
Like, it
yeah,
feels
yeah.
like that. It feels like
That level of
it
suit that
feels
they're
like they
wearing and
said
costuming.
it feels like what, like they're like, okay, let's do the Goonies. Goonies was in 85. Wait, so was Battle for Endor. Let's like make it in that style and use that
Yeah,
sort of design sense. And these pirates look just like those guys. Um, uh, I'm trying to think of the dude's name that's running the show.
hang on, I've got it hit.
Mark Webb, the other
John
Spider-Man
Watts.
guy, John
John
Watts.
Watts and Christopher Ford.
I'm curious. I'm gonna go look up to see how old John Watts is.
I've got it right here. I've got IMDb in front of me. He is
43.
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, so he was born in 81.
Yeah.
So I guess, man,
He's right in between
really
you and me.
embraced. Yeah, he really embraced the 80s aesthetic.
But I mean, you think about it, like he might have an older brother. I don't know his family. Like if he's got older
VHS
siblings, like I'm the youngest of three, so like all of my stuff skews older because of I was just inheriting all their stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah.
He seems like the kind of guy like where like it's almost like you could, when you watch The Last Jedi, you could tell Rian Johnson was a fan of Star Wars growing up. If you ever seen the footage of him receiving in-box vintage AT-AT, because he said he always wanted one, never got one.
Yeah.
The look of pure joy on his face is like, okay, this is a Kenner kid.
Happy
with
Rian
John
Johnson
Watts,
is one of the like most adorable things that you can see.
giggling and stuff.
Yeah, he's brilliant.
I still struggle with Last Jedi, but I honestly believe that, because most of it's the length of the movie, and it's packed with so much stuff and concepts, that I feel like Rian Johnson, at like in his 40s, finally got the keys to the castle and was like, this is my only chance to do this. I have like 40 years of fandom that I need to like just unleash, and it may feel a little long to me. John Watts has been given however many hours of toys to play with, and he's like, seriously feels like he's the dude that was into Holiday Special and the Ewok movies.
Yeah.
And I don't like Easter eggs. Even the Holiday Special one in episode 1, I was just like, can anything just be my little
yeah.
my little kind of
Let us have that
one. But now I'm kind of excited to see. I want to be surprised. I want to be surprised. I want to see him pull out something insane.
I mean, Jackson would be amazing. Jackson would be, I think that would be up there. And I don't
Yeah.
think it's beyond the realm of possibilities. Like
Oh God.
they've gone out of their way of saying like, do not expect big hidden
Yeah.
things in this show. Like, uh, uh, it's secretly Palpatine level like shit. Like, don't expect any of that. But I feel
Yes.
like that lets there be room for little niche things if they want to.
Like there's been no stormtroopers, no
No,
Imperials, no First Order, none of that stuff. The only thing has been mentioned
the
is
Republic,
Jedi
yeah,
and the Republic.
the New Republic. We've
Um,
seen, and they've mentioned the Old Republic.
just just like we're so far away from any of those other stories. I'm just like,
Yeah,
that's great. Keep it that way.
yeah.
But
Like to the point where
Jackson
I'm
is also so far removed from that that I'd be okay with him being in, but I don't want to see. I almost thought when they were going to that moon, I'm
mm,
like, great, is it gonna be Han Solo?
no.
But I was like, okay, then if it's Han Solo, is it Alden Ehrenreich? And then
I
I
mean,
was
that'd
like,
be great.
it would be great, but also I don't want it.
Yeah, I don't want it. I don't
But
need it. Don't
Jackson's a
want it.
different story. Jackson's a different story. I can't think of a single. I don't want. I don't want anybody to show up that's been in Star Wars
Dash
since 1985.
Dash render.
Who did someone say that in the thing? I think Scott
Oh, maybe.
is a big Dash Rendar fan.
No, I'm just thinking of like who else is on that sort of level, like niche enough but known enough, like could
Yeah,
be, but would also fit in this world with like a bit of a scoundrel, bit of a
yeah.
smuggler, like that sort of thing. I'd be happy with none, or I'd be happy with something like Jackson. That'd be fine.
Get some Hoojibs in
When
there.
I was so glad when the X-Wings landed, because we've been hearing like the comm chatter. I was so expecting it to be Carson Teva when the lid
That's what I thought.
popped. I was like, that sounds like him. That sounds like this guy. Like, I
Yeah,
was like, it's gonna be, of course it is, and that's the link into the Mandoverse and everything like that. So pleased when it wasn't.
yeah,
Because it like it's a big sector, it's a big galaxy. They're just patrolling. If they were just like the nearest ones on patrol, why is it always that guy? It shouldn't always be that
yeah.
guy. Like, have it just be. And it's
That's
furthering
what
the fact that
Mandalorian does.
yeah, exactly. It doesn't always have to be that one guy that you expect it to be. Like, let it be someone else. And it's
Yeah,
further proof that like all space cops
make
are
that Jeremy
bastards.
Allen White.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, put him in that area.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so ACAB,
Yeah,
like this was the first time that we've seen this, and New Rockstars mentioned this too, where like X-wings were a threat to our main characters, and I'm like, holy shit, this is wild. Because
yeah,
remember in Andor was the first time where we saw like a single TIE fighter was super scary. I'm like, wow. Like
yeah.
we've seen a billion TIE fighters, they blow up real easy, but this was the first time where I'm like, oh wow, that TIE fighter is menacing.
Swooping through
And
the
this is the
valley
first time
there.
where I'm
Yeah.
like, I was like, oh shit. A, they were menacing and I hated them because they're chasing our characters. But second, I was like, I don't think Disney can have these kids blow up one of these ships. But
No,
they
I
did get a
loved
hit.
I loved seeing kids shooting at X-Wings. It made me laugh so much.
Dude,
I was like,
when Jude
this
Law
is so good.
shoved them in the turrets, I
Yep.
was like, they just put kids like it's the
Yeah,
opposite of like the ET special edition where
yeah,
they couldn't
yeah.
have cops pointing guns at kids, where an adult handed massive artillery to children and said, aim, just
Here.
yeah,
Here's all the controls. I'm not even. It's not like they stumbled into it. Like he told them. Shoot.
yeah, yeah.
He's a
Murder these
pirate.
people if you can.
He is a pirate, and
That's
so are
and
they at
that's
this
what's
point.
great about his
They are
character.
pirates. Yes.
I feel like Jack Sparrow is like a menace and stuff, but oh, he's just the bad, like he's a bad guy and he doesn't really
Like
influence kids.
the first one of those movies is the only one where like that character is actually got anything interesting going on. After that, he's
Yeah,
just a very popular character that they couldn't make a scoundrel anymore because he became
yeah,
the hero of those films.
yeah,
Whereas in that first one, he is this, he is doing this,
yeah,
and this is what like Jude Law reminded me of. He's not doing the Johnny Depp eccentricities or beating of women
yeah,
or anything, but like he's doing the that scoundrel. He's like, yeah, whatever, fuck it. And like when he's talking to his old crewmate as he's busting out Smee, I like that. Like I like how he's not panicked. He's not like that guy's like, the fuck are you doing here? And he's like, you know, I broke out. I'm gonna break out, and if I have to go through you, I will. But you don't have to. We can just part
He's so
ways.
confident. He's so confident in his
So
abilities,
good. And like,
which
and the
makes him
same
cool.
reason, yeah, the same reason, like they're answering all the questions that everyone, I say we as in, like, the royal we,
Yeah,
everyone last week. "Oh, if he had the force, why didn't he just break himself out? What's the point in breaking out when you don't have a ship?" He says it straight away. It's like,
yeah,
you guys bought me a ship. I'm gonna leave now because yeah, now's the time to go. Um,
yeah.
everything about him, and yeah, the
It's
confidence is
again.
it's
So
magnetic.
it's showing characterization through dialogue,
Yeah.
and it's not bogged down. Like, it moves instead of just saying, like, people sitting there and saying, or bad guy saying, "Go get so and so. He's responsible for the bleep blorp on Gorlog," and it's like, no, we don't need to. We
I
don't need
want
to
it.
know his
I want
backstory.
it.
We just want to know who he is, and by doing it, this scene, which I didn't realize until and I watched New Rockstars, is all one shot of him
Oh, really?
going
Oh,
in,
I didn't even notice.
taking the like repulsor lifter or whatever you call it, and taking out. And Alfred Molina plays the voice of the alien,
Oh,
and
that's
it's like,
great.
because I guess he worked with John Watts on something. And
He was in
Alia
the
Shawkat is Kim.
oh, that's so good. Oh, wow, I didn't realize. So, Alfred Molina would have been in that Spider-Man movie. He was back as Doc Ock, wasn't he?
Oh
So,
yeah, duh.
yeah.
Yeah, yeah, duh.
I've got Alfred Molina on the brain as well because I've just started
But
playing
it's
the new
so
Indiana Jones game, and the intro tutorial level is the beginning of Raiders, and so
oh,
like he's just there, and I'm like, oh my god, this is so good.
that's
Yeah,
great. So that shot, okay, didn't notice it was one shot because
no, I
I'm
don't.
so invested in the character and I'm just watching the scene play out. It
That's the sort of
doesn't.
thing
It
I
doesn't.
normally will pick up on like halfway through it because I'm like,
It
we're
happened
just
in
trained. We're just trained that.
the the Book of Boba Fett, the Bryce Dallas Howard
Yeah,
Mandalorian episode, where he walks into the elevator,
it's the elevator
goes
as well. I
up, and
picked
it
up on it.
comes out, and it's like that one's so noticeable. But this one, didn't notice it at all, which is just shows you like this show is like really good. It's not distracted, and I'm invested in the characters. I could give a shit. I've seen countless hours of Mando walking around. Um, so when you just have a one shot of him walking around, it's like, I've seen this before. Let
Yeah,
me
there's
see how
nothing,
they're
and
making
there's
it.
also like, it was a good shot. I really like that shot. I think it was
Yeah,
cool. I like the way that it plays out, the whole scene. But it's like there's for a lot of it, it's just a walk. It's just a walk with a background that we know is digital. There's nothing else going on there.
yeah.
Whereas here, it's all action. There's also always something going on. There are
It's a scene.
characters
It's
that
a
he's
scene between
interacting
two
with.
characters.
Yeah,
It's a scene of tension. You're already like, even though you know this guy's an asshole, you really want SM-33 to be rescued. So you were like just watching the actions and not how it was made. And then to see that person come in and know who that guy is, now he's going
yeah,
to get caught. So I'm
yeah.
like, is he just going to shoot this dude?
Do
And
we don't see, do we? We don't see what happens. We just like the next
no,
thing we see is him in the shuttle coming out.
yeah,
And brilliantly done. Like loved that. We don't need to see him getting away and getting
it's
on the
it's
tugboat. We know he's going to. We know he probably did have to shoot that guy. Um,
it's
or at
Raiders of the
least
Lost Ark opening.
yeah, yes, exactly. It's
It's
running
like,
down the
start the
hill.
plane, Jock. It's
Yeah,
just
yeah,
like
yeah.
a smash cut to like, shit went down
And we're again
and it was crazy.
very much like Raiders. We're
Yeah,
with the perspective of the people having a calm conversation, trying to figure out what's going on, and just seeing those laser bolts in the background.
yeah.
Loved it so much. Um, few like reasons and like law and time setting stuff that I thought was really good. The everyone knows that line, like defined it as pre Clone Wars, the planet. Um, at the fact that it was
Well, James has paused. We'll get to that in a second. While James gets back, I'm gonna bring up Rob's post. I'm starting a Hut Tease pirate shanty band called Crimson Jack and the Scoundrels. Who's in? Are you going to be whaling jizz? Just a question. Scott D says he chucked Teak out of the ship. Yeah, I was kind of hoping Teak would join him and come along. I don't know, James. I'm assuming James is stuck. I could be stuck and James is talking, so I don't know what version of live action Star Wars you're getting, either the James show or the Ralph show. Um, Nick Dillinger says, always a fan of compartmentalizing Star Wars elements. Not everything has to be the Napoleon ice cream of themes. Yes, I love that this show is over here. Sure, you have the New Republican stuff, and their reach is going across the galaxy, which is fine, but it's just barely hitting the folks of Skeleton Crew. Let's see. Anybody else got anything to say? Let's see. Scott D says, I was trying to remember, was this the moon they went to? You're good. When they went to Andor, bringing the stolen money. I don't know if it's the same moon. I don't know.
I don't think so. It didn't look, that one looked a bit more whatchamacallit, a bit more like forest.
They did have some sort of form of technology on this, like on this moon to he left. To have an atmosphere so they could breathe. I was like, oh, are they gonna have bubble helmets? I don't know what's going on with James.
I'm here. I was just trying to get my camera right.
Okay. It's fine.
It's fine. It'll do. It'll do.
Yeah.
I can't my phone now. Yeah, so what I miss?
Fett says, anyone else surprised amount of bitching and complaining about this show? To me, it feels more like Star Wars than most of the other stuff happening post Return of the Jedi. I agree.
No, because I haven't seen any because I don't look anymore.
Yeah, I mean, I could just imagine Steve. Oh God, when the moms and Wynn's dad were getting together to discuss stuff about the missing kids. As soon as we saw the two moms together, KB's moms, Steve was like, woke Disney, woke Star Wars, woke, and I'm like, yeah, they're gonna be so mad.
I didn't. Yeah, it's weird, isn't it? It didn't even twig to me, but I'm like, yeah, that's cool, that's great. And like, I was more focused on the fact that they were talking about her. Like, clearly, her thing is got some tracking, but not in a malicious way. Like, more of a, it actually serves a purpose and is potentially keeping her alive. Is she maybe a disabled kid in some way? Like, is it a thing that she needs? Yeah, it's not just a cool visor.
Yeah. Stevie said that Kim's moon looked like our moon, which it did. It looked cool.
Yep. Yeah.
It reminded me of the moon.
That silhouette shot. That silhouette shot of them walking along the the hilltop.
Those were good.
I mean, that's a background waiting to happen.
It's like the Goonies poster. It's like that's what you use as like your desktop wallpaper. Sure. Also, here's kind of a fun thing: is Kim's name.
Did not realize that was how it's spelled.
So I do, because of an inside text message I had with someone involved with the show.
Okay.
And I thought it was funny. Maybe we'll have him on and he could talk about that name.
Yeah, that'd be great.
Because it's very, very funny. It's very funny. Yeah, dude, like, listen, it's a fun show.
Mm-hmm.
It's not taking itself too seriously while being also really well made. There's jokes.
Yeah.
Like, you watch the original trilogy, there's jokes in it. It's Han Solo is funny. Mm-hmm. If you go watch Star Wars with someone who hasn't seen it before, they'll start laughing at stuff, and you'd be like, "Oh, right, that's a joke."
Yeah,
like
I told you when we watched it. I think the last time we watched it for the show, Liz watched it with me. Star Wars, this is, and she was just laughing at the right places, and it was like at the joke moments. And I was like, I sort of don't anymore. Like, I still smile and I still find them enjoyable, but I've seen it all so much. I know it's coming. There's nothing surprising about it. But like, she hadn't seen it in a long time, and she was laughing. Like, and I was like,
yeah,
oh, shit, this stuff works. It still works. Like, it's there for a reason. We love it for a reason.
They're dying. Curse my metal body. I wasn't fast enough. That was it. Fucking funny.
That was it. Yeah.
And it's like one of those things where you're like, George was making a cereal. It wasn't making like this.
High
It's not.
art.
It's
Like it was
not the
never meant to
sacred
be high
text.
art. No, no,
It's
it's not.
never meant to be that. And
No.
it's like, and just watching this, I'm like, oh yeah, this is
Yeah.
refreshing. It's part of the reason why I like Daphne Keene in The
Yeah.
Acolyte. Like she seemed to be somewhat fun.
Mm,
Like there was characters that like had fun.
yeah.
Like it wasn't just resorted to like a goofy droid character.
Yeah. No.
Like people can be fun and
And
just
even in this, like I love that like every Disney show has or Disney property has added a new droid. And Smee in this one, and I will always call him Smee,
yeah,
he's different. He's not cutesy. He's he's like quite imposing when he wants to be. When he stands
yeah.
up straight, he's imposing. But that in itself is funny. Playing that like, but
The
he's not playing it as a
grouchy
yeah. He's not playing it as
the
a straight man.
grouchy
He's
robot, a
like
grouchy robot is funny.
yeah,
Why would it be
absolutely.
programmed to be grouchy?
Yeah, he's such a he's a surly pirate. He is right there. Like it's great. Um, I think before I cut off, I was just saying like some like lines of dialogue and
Oh yeah,
things that I really enjoyed. And it was the everyone knows that about the Jedi, and I was like, cool. So that firmly roots this old because not everyone, even if this kid knows about Jedi and he's studied up, like it's not going to be an everyone knows that sort of
they
time.
don't know about Star Wars because it's still
They
talking
weren't.
about Alderaan.
Yeah, I love the older, and
That
that's the
was
next one I
so
wanted to
good.
bring up. What a brilliant way of anchoring this as a oh shit, hang on. And the did you miss the war sort of thing? And it's like these kids have missed multiple wars. Like they
Yeah,
or and like
they're
this
sheltered, they're
the
privileged.
whole families, everyone on that planet has missed potentially hundreds of years worth of stuff if what we all think is happening is happening. Um and the planets being referred to as like jewels of the old republic. I'm like,
Mm.
yeah, these were they're treasure planets. They are part of the great works.
And it is explained like, oh, you're a planet that has been hidden. Like
Yeah.
they're saying, like they know. She asked, like, what does the sky look like? And they tell her,
What a great way of whittling it down. And like you've got someone
yeah,
who is very into stargazing and all of this sort of stuff, astrogation. And it's what a fun way of whittling it down in terms of like we know that she's stalling for time. We also know that she's genuinely curious because this is her passion.
I, yeah, I think it was getting to the point, like it was
She was playing
done
Guess
so
Who.
well. It was, yes, but it's like, wait, I think we've gone past just stalling for time because she said she would stall for time before she realized what she
Yeah.
had.
Then she was
And then
actually
it's like,
invested.
oh, now it's like a ticking clock for both of them
Yeah.
because she knows those sections are still coming.
And she knows that Jod,
Yeah.
Jack, or whatever you want to call him, Silvo, is gonna bail as soon as he gets wind of that. He like they've got that sort of relationship, whereas like he's not gonna hold this against her, I don't think. But next time he needs her help, he would go back to her, I think, and she'd turn him in
Right.
again. Like it's just
Yeah.
what they do.
I love the little punch card, the little
Yeah.
printout punch card of the coordinates. Like it's so cool.
And similar to
That's the kind of thing that gets me
R2's
excited.
data disc, like
Yeah.
yeah.
Like that gets me excited, not Jabba the Hutt's son. Scott D. That here's the thing. Like I'm sure it'll be fine. I'm gonna go see the movie. I'm sure I'll have positive things to say about it.
You haven't watched
But
The Bear, have you?
but just
Oh,
hearing
The
the
Bear's great.
words Jabba the Hutt's son is everything I hate about like
Uh-huh.
Mandalorian.
Yep.
I can find positive stuff in Mandalorian, but the things I dislike is that sentence right there.
It's the most Filoni thing that he could ever do is bring back one of the characters that he created, and it's like so self-referential, I hate to say it, but so self-important.
The Bad Batch where they had to go rescue or they had to go pick up a Rancor off of a planet.
Yeah.
And it was literally for Jabba the Hutt, and you're like,
Uh-huh.
didn't need to know where Jabba the Hutt's Rancor came from.
That one episode like put you off that entire show, I think. Like that's always one that you bring up.
That's the Filoni stuff I don't care for. I don't need it to be like, I don't find that cool. Is like, ooh, wow, oh, this is all tied together. That doesn't make it cool. What's cool is a little piece of paper that's yellow with holes in it. Like I was like, that's the coolest thing I've ever seen. like because I never you only hear, you assume everything in Star Wars is computers and stuff, but to be able to stick in a Scantron
Yeah.
for coordinates, like a printout, like
Yeah.
this episode, we see paper, we
It,
see rope, and they
yeah.
talk about string, and I'm like, oh my god, like
But, I mean,
Star Wars being analog is so, I think, is cooler than.
but like their tech is probably a couple of 100 years stuck in the past. Like, so
Yeah,
even if it's not, even if this stuff is still around in the galaxy now, like we don't know what they are doing in terms of tech wise. Like, so travel back then in the High Republic, like there was still light speed and things like that, but it wasn't that long before this that they were having to go like with beacons, and there wasn't like they say they were talking about Coruscant and Alderaan and stuff like that. They know about the core worlds.
yeah,
Like communication in there was fine, but the whole point of like the first wave of those books is Starlight Beacon exists because it's a comm relay, like it to the outer rim, because otherwise like you need these buoys, and it was just things like that. So they might just think that they're way out there, and yeah, who knows what that means. I love when they were first talking about the show and they were like details were leaking out. They were like, yeah, it's gonna be like in a potentially like an extra galactic sort of thing. And then they did some extra galactic stuff in Ahsoka, and we're like, oh, is it gonna be over there? Are we starting to get some stuff teased in? So no. What they meant by it being like this completely different place is the planet they're from is isolated from everything else in the main galaxy. It's there. It's in a nebula somewhere, or it's like in a false nebula somewhere, but it's a big fucking galaxy. There's hundreds of thousands of planets out there, and Anakin didn't ever get to visit them all, clearly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nick just mentioned Jabba the Hutt's son, aka the largest galaxy of characters to pull from, but we're still pulling from Tatooine gangsters.
Yeah. It's a shame. I love Jeremy Allen White. I love
not even
like it's
but it's not expanded universe anymore. It's just the same thing.
I'm all for every member of the Bear cast being in Star Wars. We had what's his name in Andor season 1 in the Aldani arc, who was brilliant. Now we've got Jeremy Allen White here. If the rest of the cast can pop up in shows, cool. If Jeremy Allen White is actually going to be in a show at some point, even better. But like, so we don't need Stinky. We just don't need Stinky.
Yeah. Scott D asks, do you see it going forward that they're going to go to planet, one per episode, trying to eliminate places that could be their home? That'd be fun.
That would be fun.
That's a nice way of doing it. I'd like to see new stuff.
Yeah. Based on stuff we've seen in the trailers, it very well could be that. Like, yeah. They got the law on their heels. They're running from the cops the whole time. Yeah.
I don't need it to be in the show. I don't need it to tie it to anything else. I don't need it to be a planet we've seen before. But I wouldn't mind seeing these kids' reaction to a place like Coruscant.
Yeah.
Something really big.
Have them go to Corellia. Have them go to Coronet. Like, Coronet City is pretty built up. Like, they might know about Corellia because it's up there in terms of like in the core worlds and things like that. Lady and Proxima. As Jod was saying, it's like the best way to hide is in a crowd. Like, they might just show up somewhere like that. That'd be great.
Yeah. So I'm going to say this. It's going to be very bold for a statement for those of you that know me. But while watching this show, while he was trying to untether from the gas line, and when it finally snapped when they went to hyperspace, which was nuts. That sequence was exciting. I don't know the last time I saw a space sequence that was exciting in Star Wars. Maybe Rogue One.
Well, it's pulling up the anchor, isn't it? It's like, shit, we got to get the anchor up before we like sail away. Yeah,
but it's stuck on a rock. And seeing it snap back and knock out all those dudes, and then the Lax Sivrak werewolf man was just standing there like unbothered by all of it. It was so exciting. I was so excited that I'm like, if this keeps going this strong, I mean, it's in contention to be my favorite Disney thing. Like,
said it a couple of times. You said it a couple of times, and nothing's stuck the landing for you.
Nothing's stuck. But like, this feels different. I know that I always say that.
Yep.
But this feels different. It's one of the reasons why I love Solo. I love
Yeah,
Solo because that's what it is. It's the spirit of adventure, which was the original Star Wars was the spirit of adventure.
yeah.
It wasn't bogged down in all of this myth and lore and shit. So this is just like pure unadulterated Star Wars adventure, and that's all I want.
Like
And I
just
think I've said it before,
yeah,
swashbuckling. And this
yeah,
has literal swashbuckling in
yeah.
it.
Like more than
And
anything it
so
ever
it's like,
has.
so in the Disney era, as of right now, Solo is my favorite movie, and this is my favorite show.
Great. You have said that a few times. Nothing has stuck the landing, but you saying this feels different, this feels like that is what we want from a Star Wars,
Yeah.
even if it doesn't end up being a favorite thing. Even if you were saying, I like this. I'm not it's not my favorite, but I'm liking this. But it feels different. That it feels different is I think the most important thing. Give
Yeah.
us different things. That is what we want.
And it doesn't feel so,
Seeing
it
that
doesn't
rope
feel
whip
so
back,
different.
like my
Oh
brother
yeah.
used to work on cruise ships as a DJ, and he told a story once, like those those wires that like the anchors are, like they will rip a dude in half, and it
Yeah.
happens. It is scary. Like so,
Yeah.
seeing
Die
that
Hard
whip
3
through there,
happens in Die Hard 3.
yeah. Yes, it does. Yeah, brutally. Um, yeah, love it. I'm a big fan. Neil's gonna get stuck in a freezer with a dead body and some Rocky Road ice cream. I'd love to see it. When all the kids were asleep on the ship and we heard Neil
Yeah.
snoring out of his little trunk.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the noise, like that is the Neil Nation moment of this episode. Is yeah.
Yeah.
Him snoring through a trunk is delightful. And all of the kids are getting something to do. They're all like there isn't one who's just being neglected, even if it's just a scene or one moment of silent like apprehension or an individual moment with Jude Law. It's working, and I really hope it keeps it up because so far so good.
Yeah.
The list of directors that they've got for this show it's a murderer's row. Like everyone involved is
I think the
solid.
Daniels is next week.
Is that next week? Ah, so
I
exciting.
haven't I haven't seen their movie. I need to
Oh,
see it.
everything
I know, I
everywhere is
heard it's great.
amazing. Yeah, it's so much
Yeah, I
fun
heard it's
and
great.
so visually different and rich. Like there's so much going on
Yeah.
with what they're doing. So I can't
Maybe I'll
wait to
watch
see what
that
they do.
before next week.
Cool.
Um,
Yeah.
but yeah, this show's great.
Yep.
I have nothing but praise for it so far. I want to bring up the music
Yeah.
because this is, I believe, the first time we've heard the use of a theremin in
Ooh,
Star Wars.
I picked up on it. I didn't know
That
if it
was
was the first time.
That's a ton of fun.
Yeah.
I'd have to double check in like Kevin Kiner stuff for like Clone Wars and stuff, but I don't ever remember hearing it.
No.
But again, I think the music's great. There's a great cue when Jude Law's walking around.
Yeah.
And there's a nice there's a nice theme that plays. I believe that's
That can be
Jude
his
Law's
theme. Great.
Yeah. But I mean, geez, Louise, I'm gonna talk to that guy. I'm gonna talk to Mick
Yeah.
about coming on. Maybe when the
That'd
show's
be
all
amazing.
done and he can like really talk about it.
That'd be
But
amazing.
yeah,
It
this is
would be amazing
exactly
to
the
see
text. Fetz posted the exact text I sent to Mick was theremin with like
that.
2 exclamation points. I might have done 3, but like, dude, like the kid, I call him a kid. He feels like a little brother, but
Yeah.
he's just
What a
so
year.
goddamn talented.
What a
He's
year.
so talented. If you the score he's doing for this is great. I'm
Yep.
afraid to listen to Star Wars Music Minute because I know they're talking about Chris Anthony's talking about this show, and I'm like, oh no, I hope they like it. I'm afraid for him.
Yeah. Yeah,
But
Crisanti pulls no punches. If they don't like something, like yeah, you're not gonna
yeah. So I'm like, I'll probably go check it out. They've been wanting us to be on the show, but like my schedule's been crazy busy.
Yeah.
I worked on a movie that Mick did music for,
Yeah.
so that's fun. And then he also worked on the Penguin, whatever.
Oh yeah. Just the Penguin.
Like a massive
but,
year.
like,
It's so fun to be
also-
part of that.
Talking about difference though, like just talking about the range of talent that Mick's got, like going from the Penguin score to this couldn't be any more different. It's
Yeah.
is
Yeah.
yeah, it's one of those moments. Like I remember when we first all started hearing Michael Giacchino's stuff, or we started hearing Ludwig Göransson on Community and New Girl, like, and to see then what he did in music with Childish Gambino, and then all of his film and TV stuff. It's like this feels like one of those moments where it's like,
Yeah.
this is a coming out party for Mick. Obviously, he's been working, he's been doing stuff for a while, and people who are sort of in the know have gone, oh shit. But this year is a coming out party for Mick in terms of like, I'm here and I'm ready to take over.
I'm super talented.
Yeah. It's great. I
Because
can't wait.
the thing is, what Ludwig Göransson did with like the Mandalorian was like completely diverged from John Williams, but then was like, it was really good.
Yeah.
And so people were like, oh, Star Wars could also sound like this. It doesn't have to sound like John Williams. A lot of credit to Michael Giacchino on Rogue One, who had the first task of being the guy to. It was like he had like, I think 3 or 4 weeks to do that. But to be that whole thing with Rogue One is this was the first sort of movie outside of the Skywalker saga. And so Michael was able to like do what Gareth Edwards did, was this is going to be different, but we're going to keep it enough to make sure you know that it still feels like Star Wars.
Absolutely.
Because Michael's music has shades of Williams, but it really sounds like him.
Oh, it sounds
he
unique.
Doesn't want to stray too far, because it's like it's Lucasfilm dipping their toe in the pool saying, okay, we're going to try something different.
It's a bridge. It's a perfect bridge. It's like, here is new. And also like credit to Kevin Kiner as well with all the animated things and things like that. But like the Clone Wars, especially, I feel like a lot of it in the early seasons, more than anything, it lent so much. And it was like, here's John Williams with a tweak. It's like, we're sort of almost playing with the knobs a little bit.
Rebels started out that way too.
Rebels started out that way, and then they both developed their own themes, and the themes that you get for like Maul or Ahsoka later on in those shows, or the rest of the Rebels crew, are amazing. Some of the best pieces of Star Wars music, but there's a lean back to what John Williams created, whereas we're now far enough along that with Ludwig, with Mick, with these guys doing these shows now, it's like, here we go. Like, let's go and do our own thing.
Yeah. And Mick's making it like, it sounds like classic, like Corn Gold adventure, like what's the Adventures of Robin Hood style of like pirate music, like especially that opening sequence in episode 1. It's so good. But then he's kind of doing some different stuff. Like the theremin stood out a little bit to me, just because I listen to film scores primarily. That's the music I listen to. And so I like, even knowing my friends doing the music, and as much as I pay attention to music as I watch it, I find myself at times not paying attention to the music.
Yes.
And that's due to the storytelling between the production and the music. It's like they got into a place where I'm just like, it's just a story.
You're not focusing on it because it's natural. It's what is there. It's like when you start focusing on an edit, or there is like, I didn't notice that there was a wanna, because like I'm just in it. I'm enjoying it. It's
So here's my dream scenario. I don't think it'll happen. This is a plea. Back in the days of Mondo, they released season 1 of The Mandalorian on 6 vinyl records, 1 per episode.
Yeah.
Those guys have moved over to Mutant, who I love. Mullen Spencer, Elijah Wood and the gang, Eric and everybody at Mutant. If I could get a Skeleton Crew season 1 box set, 1 per episode with mixed score, I would be very, very, very happy. I would spend the $400 somehow and get that box set. Actually, I think the Mando one was like $200. But I'm just saying, like, this music is so good. I want to listen to it on its own.
Yep.
Mick is super talented, and I'm so excited because he's been my friend for years, and it's just nice to just send a text that just says theremin, and he knows exactly where I'm at in the episode and knows that I'm watching him and supporting him. And I highly recommend anybody just go to wherever you get your music and type in Mick Giacchino and just listen, because he's really good.
He is really good. I really hope that we get to have him on the show. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, I'll reach out to him.
I get to have that feeling whenever I watch Getting Lost, a movie that Ralph produced, and is available now digitally. Am I right?
Or yeah. So here's the deal. Right now, we did a live stream on Saturday. Went off without a hitch. You can watch that, the repeat, over at Eventive. Just go to gettinglost.com. Check that out. If you were part of the Indiegogo, which I know some of the people in the chat are, you got sent a link today to your digital copy, and I believe there's extras.
Ooh, oh, I didn't realize that. That's great.
Yeah, I think so. I'm pretty sure that's happening. And then in the course of the next couple of weeks, it should be available to everybody else on Vimeo for purchase and rent. And then we have, or just, I think just for purchase, but then like down the road, we're still sorting out like your iTunes and Amazon Prime and stuff, like VOD area.
They'll be there at some point.
So yeah, just keep an eye out. And yeah, check out the extras.
Yes. Yeah.
On there.
If they're not, will they like be added later? Is that something that's happening with the digitals?
There are extras, and I know that people are getting them.
Okay.
There's one extra on there which changed my view of Lost completely.
Oh, is that as an extra? That thing
I don't know. I know it's going to be an extra somewhere. I'm not sure. I need to see, because I know that like Indiegogo people get certain things, and they'll be on the. I don't know. We'll see if that thing is on there.
I've not seen it as an extra, but I know the thing that you're talking about, and it is very exciting if it is.
I showed it. I sent it to Jorge Garcia the other day because he asked me. He's like, "What's the thing that changed Lost for you?" And I said, "I don't know if I could say here. Just watch this." And he was like, he was like, "Oh, that's a really cool take. All right." And then started thinking about it, and then here I am theorizing with Jorge about the show he was on. Yeah.
I'd love that. Talon Card's a cool character. But again, Andre
Talon
just
Card.
Talon Card from the Thrawn trilogy. You've read that. Yeah. So that'd be fun. Yeah, so that's out there now. Go and support and watch and check out Getting Lost. It's a really, really great documentary. I've watched it again now, and I love it. It's amazing. It still made me cry. It's brilliant. You can find me 3 times this week. There was an episode of Top 10 Tacos out yesterday. There's this one today, and on Friday you can find me and Ralph on InvinciPod, as we mentioned at the top of the show. So if you're not sick of us yet, you just get us in a couple of days' time.
And tomorrow I'm doing a live episode of Lanterns Live. So if you're a Green Lantern fan,
it's a busy week for us.
Check it out. Yeah, I know. This week I was like, okay, I'm finally done like doing hardcore movie promoting work. I still have to do some promotion, but that's like tweets and stuff.
Yeah.
So I'm like, oh, I'm finally going to get back on my Patreon and start doing that again. And I'm like, oh, I got like 4 episodes to do this week of other stuff. So
as we're still going, I'm remembering more things, and I'd be remiss if I didn't bring it up. Tristan messaged me last week after we'd already finished the podcast. The guy playing Wim's dad, Tunde, I can't remember his surname, is the lead singer of TV on the Radio, a band that Tristan loves and are supporting Krungbin, a band that I love, when they play in London next year, and I'm going to go see him. Tristan and me are both going to go see him. So for the second time in as many years, because last year when Book of Boba Fett came out and Thundercat was in it, I saw Thundercat at Glastonbury that year. Now Tunde is in this show, and I'm going to see TV on the Radio next year. So is more musicians are showing up in Star Wars, and then I happen to see them because I'm going to shows that they're playing.
That's so fun.
It is fun. But yeah, I know Tristan, when he sees this, he would be annoyed if I didn't mention that. So yeah, Tristan, I remembered right at the end there.
And then we'll be back in 1 week's time with guest Jacob Fullerton.
Yeah, Jacob's returning
from Astro Goblin.
Yep.
Very excited.
I can't wait to hear all about his bachelor party that just happened last weekend.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Like the K1 racing. Stevie and I, like today's Wednesday, which means we have an Astro Goblin to watch. We watch every single thing that Astro Goblin releases.
We should try and get Patrick and or Charlotte on as well at some point. Like that would be really fun. I think Jacob. Last time we had Patrick on, last time we had Jacob on, he said Patrick might be up for it. So I might speak to Jacob next week and see if he wants to put in a good word for us.
Great. Yeah.
But yeah, that'd be a ton of fun.
I love those guys. They're so fun.
Great. They're brilliant.
I've
been watching them for years. Yeah. Until next week, until Friday, come and watch us on Invincipod. So I won't say until next week. Until Friday, thanks for joining us. Don't give in to hate.
Celebrate the love.
Punch it.